Siesta Sand Live. Siesta Sand Live is broadcast from Captain Kurt's Village. It's Siesta Key's home to great food, great drinks, great music, and great times. Look for the giant American...
Welcome to Siesta Sand Live. I'm your host, Natalie Gutwein. Have you ever driven by those brown buildings kind of over by Out of Door Academy and you wondered, what is that? Well, we're going to talk to the Siesta Key Chapel today, and they're going to give you a rundown of who they are, what they do, where you can join in. So stay tuned.
The next segment is brought to you by the Judy Berger team, part of Sotheby's International Realty. Whether a buyer or a seller, you'll be delighted with their service. And by Altez Vacations. It's the perfect place to go to find that perfect place to rent.
Welcome back to another episode of Siesta Sand Live. I am here with Pat and Connor from the Siesta Key Chapel. And we want to talk about the chapel. We were talking off air about how I just don't think people don't even know that the chapel is there. They don't know what it is, what it does. Is it a church? Is it a building? What exactly is the Siesta Key Chapel?
Well, the Siesta Key Chapel came into existence basically in 1970. The Presbyterian Church, actually, there were two separations of Presbyterians, and they came together and to form a union, and because they had been separated by political prior to that, South and North, and they realized that there were enough people here on the Key in the 70s to start a church. St. Boniface was here and St. Michael's, so they decided that they would try this out. So my mother was actually one of the founding members. That's why it's so important to me. So she was on the building thing to find a place to put the chapel. And it was very political at that time, and it was originally supposed to be...
So nothing has changed?
Oh, no, nothing has changed.
Right, Siesta, there's always, even
Even
back in the 70s. So that building was built in the 70s?
Yes, it was built, it started, Frank Folsom Smith was an architect.
The architect.
Frank Folsom Smith and the Holidays, and there was a third one, but Craig Holiday, his son, is still a member of the church.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it has good history.
That's a lot of architectural significance here on Siesta Key.
Well, that's why it was the Architecture of Sarasota named it as one of the 50 architectural unique buildings in Sarasota in
absolutely.
2023, I believe, or 2024.
So did you get very much damage from the hurricane?
Yes, actually, we did.
You did?
Thankfully, the Frank Folsom Smith and Company had plenty of forethought to build the chapel, the sanctuary, up.
Well, that's why I ask, because most of the building is elevated. I mean, you can...
Yes, but in the late 70s, early 80s, when there were quite a few children on the Key, they built underneath the chapel. So all of our underneath the chapel is pretty well destroyed. And it wasn't really built to code under there, so it's a, and because we have to kind of make sure it's okay, because we don't want mold going up into the sanctuary. So
right.
Yes, we sustain quite a bit, and unfortunately, we also sustained a lot of landscape damage. The trees, particularly, took a big hit from the salt water and wind, and some of the disease that's going around for the trees. So it's we took a hit. We took a hit for sure.
Still recovering.
Oh, yeah, we'll be recovering for a long time, but It's I think it's important building for the Key. In fact, some of St. Boniface, because they were hit pretty hard too.
Right. Well, we do the Siesta Key Association meetings at the chapel now, and I love going there. I just feel like it's stepping back in time.
Oh, it is.
It's a great. The room that we're in has the beautiful ceilings, and you have a huge campus, though.
Well, we've earned the moniker God's Treehouse, I believe.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one.
Well, actually, the story behind that moniker is that when the first Reverend Blackwood was the first minister, and when they were looking for this property, the kids back then, actually, Craig Holliday will tell you that they had to live on the Key because on the land was too expensive.
That's funny.
Yeah, so they all the kids were around there, and they built a treehouse, and so they were so upset that the treehouse is going to be torn down. And Reverend Blackwood said, "Yes, but we're building a God's treehouse." So that's how it all started. Yeah.
Oh.
And I think when people come to the chapel, they realize it means God's treehouse, because if you haven't been in it, it's all windows, so you can see outside.
Oh, it's an incredibly unique building, and now I know who the architect were. That makes sense.
Oh, eminent sense. Yeah.
So, what do you do there at the chapel?
So I am the director of music. So anything music is under my umbrella. I've also taken over a lot of the administrative roles. So marketing, community relations. We really, as Pat said, are a part of the Siesta Key community. We're more than just four walls and a Sunday sermon, right?
Right. Well, it's a huge property. There's a lot.
Yeah, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe originally the property was part of ODA. ODA, Out of Door Academy, I was told, expanded all the way in.
Yeah, it's got it really has a unique history to it, and we're good neighbors with ODA. I don't know. I've looked at some of my old stuff, and it was owned by somebody, and they didn't want to give it up. Originally, it was going to be at Treasure Boat Way and Ocean, but people didn't want it there, so they found this piece of property. And the interesting story about that, it was all political, and they went before the commissioners or whoever gives approval for building, and Frank Folsman's daughter was there. And she was the one who passionately said, "You've got to let us build a church here," and she broke out in tears, and everybody, and that was it.
And that's what did it.
Yeah, seriously, that is what did it.
I'll remember that technique the next time I'm in front of the commissioners.
Yeah, have a little. Yeah.
I don't know if it'll work as well for me or with this board, but
Well, really, my role really involves the mission of and ministry of music, right? So I'm really proud of our music program, and with everything going on with the stock market, my background's really in business.
Oh.
So diversification is the key word. So we do a little bit of everything. There's something for everyone. So yes, we have a beautiful 21 rank Chantz pipe organ.
Oh yeah.
That was installed in 2017. Chantz is a wonderful organ builder based out of Ohio. They're the longest standing organ company that's in the United States that's still owned and operated by the founding family. It started in the 1880s. But musically, there's something for everyone. So yes, we have a beautiful organ. We do Bach. We do classical choral music, as that archetype goes. But we also have, for instance, coming up, a bluegrass service with banjos.
Oh, really?
And fiddle, yeah.
So you do more than the traditional service.
Absolutely. So there's a little something for everyone. We have for Memorial Day, which will be in May, we have a jazz service, which kind of runs the gamut from big band sounds of the 1920s and 30s, kind of Benny Goodman, Gene Krupa style, to more contemporary jazz, Coltrane. At Christmas time, the week after Christmas, we have a calypso service, so Trinidad and Tobago, picture that with steel drums and everything. It's a lot of fun. I'm particularly proud of that. Coming up for Palm Sunday, we're actually in tandem with the Chamber of Commerce. We are hosting a concert in partnership with the First Brass of Sarasota underneath the gazebo in the village during the farmers market. So that's really branding ourselves as really a part of the community, not solely just another church. So that's
Right.
exciting. I'm excited.
Well,
for
that's
the
why
year.
I was excited to have you on. I do think it is a lot more than just another church. It is a part of the community
Absolutely.
and not just one denomination, and that's all it is. I think the chapel is a lot different.
Pastor Ruth consistently says, "Come as you are." So
Which basically, that's how it started, and that's how we want to keep it. And we have several people who bring their dogs.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
included.
We're yeah. And actually, the singer
Colby, yeah.
Colby will bring his dog, and the dog will sit right by him while he's singing in front of the congregation. But yeah, and if they're not comfortable, those windows will open and they can sit outside. Yeah.
So if somebody shows up in their T-shirt and flip-flops, does anybody care?
Come on down.
No, nope. And in fact, sometimes, because Pastor Ruth helped us start the beach ministry. Did you know that was going on?
I did not.
Oh,
So talk to us about that.
that is a big deal.
Sure. So every Sunday at either 8:30 or 9, depending on the season, we down at Patriots Pier, which is at the end of Avenida Messina. It's the same street that it's Village Cafe is on that street in the hub. We have a beach service. It's a half hour, generally more contemporary music, but quick in and out. Great way to start your Sunday morning on
At
Siesta
Patriots
Key-
Pier.
At Patriots Pier, there's a
Wow.
flag raising ceremony. We play reveille. We sing the Star Spangled Banner immediately before the service with a short sermon. It's a wonderful way. And initially, I was rather reticent about starting it when Pastor Ruth suggested it, because musically wasn't really my background. But it's grown to become my favorite service. Truly.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it started with COVID. Actually, I think it started with Ian because we had some damage and we couldn't get into the chapel because a lot of things were on the ground and the safety. And we had actually, when we recruited Pastor Ruth, we originally wanted to have outreach.
More outdoor ceremonies.
Yeah, more outreach. People don't want to necessarily, particularly if they're on vacation, want to come into, think formal church or
Right.
whatever. So it started from maybe 15 people might have showed up walking, and now it's reached at least 150 at the beach.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's
That is
really
a
who
big-
we are, right?
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah.
do we meet people where they are?
Right.
And certainly not everyone may be comfortable coming to a new church for the
Right.
first time.
It is a lot easier just to walk out of your rental,
Absolutely.
condo,
Yeah.
whatever, or your house. And
Yeah.
if you're on vacation or if you live here and just walk out onto the beach for it's only a half an hour.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
oh,
And we offer, for those that are maybe living on the mainland and would like to drive, we offer a shuttle from the chapel every Sunday that leaves a half hour before the service, so you can park at the chapel. The Frog Hop, thanks to the Frog Hop, shameless plug, will bring you directly to the beach and bring you back. We have beach chairs that have been graciously donated by several donors from the chapel. So we have Easter coming up in 2 weeks. I think we had 600 people last year.
650
wow.
people.
650 people on the beach
Yes.
for Easter service.
Yes. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yep. And considering they always have the sunrise service at the public beach, it is incredible because that's always filled. So we weren't sure how many people were going to be there, so we're a little prepared, much more prepared this time. and then one year it rained, and I think that was 2 years ago. And then we told everybody come to the chapel. So a lot of people did come to the chapel. Some people still didn't even know where we were. So they came, and after the service, you could see all the sand on the floor.
You've got to be ready for sand.
Yeah.
I dropped my iPad in the sand the other day, and I told myself, you know what? I'm lucky enough to live on the beach that I am working and drop my iPad in the sand.
Well, it's
Absolutely.
like glitter. You find it for years in every in every crevice.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. But this is what the chapel is, and it's another reason I like that it's called the chapel. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have a particular denomination or
That is a very valid point, and I thought about that, and the many times I've driven by there, I wondered why it was called the chapel and not a particular church or denomination. And
no, we are Presbyterian based. We do answer to the Presbyterian Council. So, but we have Catholics. We've had Mennonites attend the service. We're open.
Well, I was a cradle Catholic, right? And one of the things that really attracted me, not solely to Siesta Key Chapel, but the Presbyterian Church in general, is the focus on mission, particularly
Yeah.
mission and outreach. So in 2024, Siesta Key Chapel itself has donated well over $50,000 just in the 2024 fiscal year to many local organizations, particularly Bethel. They work with local farm workers to provide food, meals, clothing, etc., as well as Second Chance Last Opportunity, and innumerable others. So that's very exciting. So solidifying ourselves as mission-wise within the local Sarasota community.
Yeah, we it's always been a primary focus is for mission.
And local, it
and
sounds
local.
like. That's
It's
a
key.
really big deal.
There's
so much going on here, and people think of Sarasota, they think, especially Siesta Key, they think, oh, everybody on Siesta Key is rich. Well, not necessarily, and that doesn't mean you don't need help in some way.
No.
Particularly after the hurricanes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's even Pastor Ruth went to Einstein Bagels that's on Bay and 41 right there, and she had her collar on, and the manager came out and said, we would like, if you want, we'll give you unsold bagels to take for mission. So essentially what we do is try to pick up one day and take them out to Second Chance Last Opportunity for the kids. So, I mean, that's what we do. And we're also trying to get people to realize, okay, if you are just here for a little time and you have leftover on
The food, like
the
if
food
you,
distribution,
yes.
we take that immediately to our missions. So try to get that out there, that anything that they have that's non-perishable, even diapers and other things, that grandparents will always have
Right.
have on hand. Just bring it to the chapel. And actually, the Frog Hop said, call us and we'll pick it up and take it to the chapel for you.
I was just this week, I was thinking about that because I know so many people come in, and I was thinking, how much ketchup and mustard does Morton's Market end up going through? Because everybody comes in, they buy ketchup and mustard, and they leave a week later and, cycle and cycle. And I was thinking, what about everything else that people can't take on an airplane? So that's great. They can drop it off at the chapel.
Absolutely.
And you
Year
can
round.
take
Year
it out to where it needs to go.
Yeah.
That's a great relationship with the community because we are a unique community.
Yeah, I think we are. I met my husband on Siesta Key Beach Access 7. So.
Really? Did you grow up here on the island?
No, my parents moved here in 65, and I moved down in 70. And
So where are you from?
Midwest, outside of Chicago.
We discovered we're both Indiana graduates. We're both Indiana kids.
Well, I'm got to bleed orange and blue because we sent our kids, and all of our money went to Gatorville. So, yay, Gators! So we were.
That's all right. Your kids didn't go to Purdue, so that's
No,
that was yeah.
no.
Well, yeah. The Gators, pretty proud of that. That's
I couldn't watch it. I just, my husband makes me so nervous watching it. So I close the door, and then all of a sudden, whips open the door and says, "They won!" I said, "By how much?" 2 points. I go, "Oh, shit."
Yeah, well, being an Indiana girl, I've got to, of course, eventually IU will have a team that is worth of being in there again. But I still watch March Madness. That's the basketball is just in my blood.
Oh, yeah. I know not to schedule any kind of trips during the March Madness. I mean, it is sacrosanct in our household. So, yeah.
Well, that's even worse than I am.
Oh, yeah. I remember taking a trip out to California when we were first married, and I thought, oh, we're going to do this and that, and no, so-and-so's on. We can't. So, yeah, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So what does Sunday look like? Or not just Sunday, what can people attend at the chapel? What's the normal week look like?
Well, it depends on the season. We have what we call adult Christian education in the morning from January until probably right before Easter. And that comes we adjust our hours for the church. So during season. During season it starts at 10:30. So class, what we call ACE, Adult Christian Education, is at 9:30. It's 45 minutes, and then church is at 10:30. After Easter until right after Christmas, we have service at 10, and the beach is at 8:30, simply because of how hot it is.
Yeah, the humidity. And
Oh, yeah.
The ACE classes, I'm always really excited for. I seldom can attend, but just this past weekend we had Dr. Chris Cortman, who is a licensed therapist, or he's a psychologist, that spoke about anxiety and spirituality and how those two go together. Yeah, really fascinating. There was a really good crowd. There's for both Wednesday mornings once a month, there's also a Bible study that Pastor Ruth hosts. Both of them, there's always coffee and donuts. I was at a church once that I was music director at. It was Our Lady of Hungary, like the country, and the pastor would always say, "No one leaves Our Lady of Hungary hungry."
Yeah.
There's always snacks.
Snacks bring people in. I'm a realtor by trade, and yes, if you feed us, we will come.
That's basically what we do. Is in fact, they feed people at the beach. So there's coffee, and
We have some excellent community partnerships here on the Key.
Yeah.
And the Bean, the local Bean in the village, provides our coffee, and there's always scones or fresh baked muffins at the beach service. And after the chapel service, there's usually some light fellowship afterwards. So,
oh yeah, and then once a month we our membership chair, Margie Kraft, will organize a brunch, and we've been many times to Village Cafe, and other. It depends, of course, time of year and traffic and where they can park and stuff. But
Well, and people can rent your rooms also. How?
yeah,
Like I said, the Siesta Key Association, we're in the one room.
Fellowship Hall. Yeah.
What other opportunities are there if somebody needs to rent a space?
Oh, that's it.
So we're just working on organizing that, right?
Yeah.
So, yes. Well, Pat had mentioned earlier about how beautiful our campus is, and we're the only, what's it called, a biome? Hammock.
Hammock. We're the only hammock on Siesta Key, which basically is.
What is that, Pat?
It's. I'm not a. I can't really
Arborist?
say arborist. Thank you, but it's because of the trees and the land, and we have always been very careful to maintain that. But we recently received a very large donation to do something constructive, and this was before all of the hurricanes, and because of economy,
A playground or a...
well, no, what we've done is renovate Fellowship Hall, and it is perfect for weddings because we're really the Chamber keeps telling us we're one of the only large venues to host something like that. So we've renovated, we painted, we've changed the floor, we've actually brought it into the 21st century now.
It's a beautiful room.
It is a beautiful
and the property,
room.
I just recently toured. I just was walking around and just looking at it, and I said, wow, this is all the trees, and it's just gorgeous. I'm sure wedding photos there are beautiful.
Yeah, we hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
this is what we're planning to help us, to sustain us, really. You know, there is a walking path around the chapel, too.
I did not know
And a
that.
lot of people bring their dogs around. I think we also have poop bags there for people.
Well,
You're very dog friendly. I
Yeah,
like that.
we're going to have blessing of the animals.
oh yeah, the bluegrass service. Yeah.
Yes.
So at the end of this month, coming up, we'll have the Palm Sunday service. We'll go into Holy Week, Easter Sunday, both at the beach and at the chapel, and then the succeeding week, which will be April 27th, we will have a Appalachian bluegrass service. That's the one with the banjos and everything. It'll be a picnic service that originally we had kind of planned to do it outside because we lost several trees during the hurricanes, which we are working on replacing. We're going to hold it in Fellowship Hall. There will be a lunch provided, sandwiches and things like that. But during that service, there will be a blessing of dogs. So if you have a dog,
Oh, so I need to bring Rufus by. is what you're telling
Absolutely.
me?
Oh, even a cat. I mean, I don't, think it's simply the dogs. But
what if I had an emotional support flamingo?
I think it would be fine. I don't know if it would be
Right.
fine with all the dogs around, but
Right. You might not have one for too long. If you brought it to that,
You know,
unfortunately.
I think people may have bunnies,
There are a lot of bunnies.
Yeah.
They're so soft.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't really matter. I mean, and this is why I think the chapel is so unique, because it's a place of worship, but it's also a place of connecting with
it's a great community partner.
Oh, it's
Very good community partner.
and I give Pastor Ruth huge credit for that, because we previously had a manse on the property, but then after,
Which is like a building where pastors live, right?
Oh,
yeah, it's a church supported. So back in the day, a church would have a manse, so whenever they called a pastor, they would
They had a place to
immediately
live.
have some place to live. Well, in the late 90s, when we recruited Pastor Kathy Wiggins, her husband actually is a pastor in Venice, and so she didn't want to live in the manse, so we sold the manse, and which was actually pretty good for us because we've invested the money, and that has helped us a lot. But when Ruth came, she was adamant she wanted to live on the Key. So we went in partnership with her to help her find a place, a condo on the Key.
Oh,
And
that's
she really has made being around the Key, knowing everybody. She attends every chamber meeting. She volunteers everything for the chapel. So yeah,
I think it does make a big difference. When I moved here, I said I want to ride my bike to the beach. That was what I wanted to do, and that changes everything. You know, if Sunday afternoon, if I don't have anything on the schedule, I'm on the bike and I'm riding around and I'm going to the local businesses, and it is different. So I'm glad she's able to do
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely, and yeah, we give her a lot of credit for that.
Maybe we can even get Connor on the Key. What do you think?
I'm pretty close, actually. So I'm just off the North Bridge, finally.
Oh, did you move?
Well, you'll be invited to the housewarming party.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
finally,
yeah,
finally.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm within bike riding distance.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, we. I live off of the Key, just near Riverview High School. So, but we have my grandmother bought a condo at Crescent Royale in the 70s. So
And you
kind of
do you still have that?
Yeah, we
Oh,
still
wow.
have that. So we take advantage of it. Not in season.
Right.
It's
Well,
really-
you let it rent out for the season and then it pays for the rest of the year.
Exactly.
I know that drill.
Exactly.
Very well.
Exactly. So when we moved here, it was just a little village. It
Yeah.
really wasn't much, and I had little girls at that time, and they would walk up to the Davidson Drug and the local and get ice cream. But so it's it's changed. And
Right.
change is inevitable, but I remember when it was just nothing here. Really.
Well, we want to hold on to things like the chapel and build on Siesta Key, do a little updating, but we don't want to lose the charm. And I think the chapel is part of that. Thank you both for being a part of that.
Oh, we enjoy it. We really enjoy it. We love what we do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we're so glad that Connor's here, and we have Barry helps with the
He's our buildings, grounds,
Yeah.
technology, anything.
Guru.
Yeah, guru.
I mean, we just,
Every place needs a guru.
Yeah.
That does a little bit of
he's-
everything.
I mean, we've really connected online with him, and again for the weddings, we really have the technology to do that, and COVID made us push ourselves, into doing that. So.
Right. It pushed a lot of people
Right.
into
So
that.
we're online. People can,
You can watch the service online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're in the we've transitioned quite a bit over the past few years. So yes, you can view our Sunday morning worship services. The 10:30 service in the chapel is live streamed on YouTube. We're working on getting that simultaneously streamed to Facebook. But we have all the socials: Facebook, Instagram.
So if somebody's looking for, they can go to your website, Instagram,
Sure.
Facebook, all of that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just see what it's like, and then it's just amazing how many people don't know we're there. We
Right.
host the what's it? I want to say banjo. It's
The what?
the musical instrument. The not guitars.
Oh, the banjo group.
Banjo.
No, ukuleles. Excuse me,
Ukulele.
they're ukuleles.
The ukulele group comes there every week to practice. And when they first came, I said, okay, there's about 15 people. I said, okay, how many of you didn't know we were here? Probably 2/3.
Yeah.
And they live on the key.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's just hidden.
Yeah.
In fact,
Well, the tree's the hammock is really like a blessing and a curse, right? It's so beautiful being
Right,
there.
but it hides it.
Yeah, when you're driving around, unless you know it's there and you're looking for it, you may just pass it right by. Certainly.
yeah, when Kathy Wiggins was interviewing, she drove up to us. She thought it was a campground.
No, but it would make a beautiful one. But
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just tucked in there with ODA. A lot of people don't know about ODA, I don't think. so,
right.
but
And we have such a great partnership with them
Absolutely.
as well. They host their graduation ceremony and many of their concerts in the chapel itself. They come over we have tutoring sessions.
Girl Scouts.
Girl Scouts.
Oh.
We host the
Yeah.
Girl Scouts. Yeah, and
little bit of-
actually, before the chapel was built, Reverend Blackwood hosted. We had our services there
Oh,
in their auditorium. So yeah,
that's a great partnership.
it's a wonderful partnership.
Well, thank you both very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
If people hopefully will see the podcast, reach out. Very excited about that Easter service on the beach. I did not know that.
You have to try a service on the beach. You'll be surprised.
8:30 on 8:30 Sunday mornings.
It's 9 o'clock.
Oh, 9 o'clock.
Through
May-
May.
I think
through
it's Mother's Day.
Mother's Day weekend
Okay.
is the last
Mother's
day
Day.
at 9, and then it will shift back to 8:30.
And that's because of the heat.
The heat. Right. It's going to hit us. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate it also.
The following segment is brought to you by Beach Bazaar, located in the heart of Siesta Village. Everything for the beach, and we do mean everything. And by FAM Development, the area's best in custom-built homes. Start living your dream on and around Siesta Key. Thank you for tuning in for another great episode of Siesta Sand Live. I hope you have a much better understanding of the Siesta Key Chapel. And if you don't have anything going on this weekend, head out for Easter. They've got a lot going on out on the beach, at the chapel, all over. So take a look and stay sunny, Siesta. We'll see you next week. The final segment is brought to you by the law offices of Eric Fleming, specializing in real estate closings. Mr. Fleming is also the current president of the Siesta Key Chamber of Commerce. And by Gilligan's Island Bar and Grill. Experience the heartbeat of the Siesta Village's dining and social scene. Siesta Sand Live is broadcast from Captain Kurt's Village. It's Siesta Key's home to great food, great drinks, great music, and great times. Look for the giant American flag.